Okay, this is our video demonstration of the K&S 4526 deep access wedge bonder. So we have a .750 length tool. Setup is it's a 1 mil wire tool. You can see we got 1 mil gold wire. This is using the 2-inch spool setup. So you have a 2-inch spool of gold wire. It's placed up top here. Fed through this glass tube, called the feed tube, and then underneath the glass slide here puts a little tension on the wire through this little eyelet here, down through the clamps, and then down through the tool. You can see that here's the clamps right here. Now there's a hole through the center of the deep access wedge tool here, and then it goes fed through the. Once you feed it through that, you'll feed it through the bottom tip. I went through all the adjustments and preventive maintenance schedule on here, so it's all ready to go. The work holder set at 150 degrees C, which is typical, and that's controlled by this temperature controller here. And I calibrated it so to make sure that it's actually 150 when it's showing you 150. Just want to point out we're in semi-automatic mode. You do have a manual Z mode, and you use your black button here in order to move the head up and down. I'll demonstrate that later. This has the auto step back, so I put a step back of 2 in. So you'll set it to whatever your parameters are if you need it. If you don't want to use the step back, you just go ahead and set it to 0. This will all be explained in a copy of the manual that you receive. We do have a high and low reset. We're in high position now, and that just allows the head to raise higher up if you need to get your work out from underneath it. That's your reset level, so that's after the bond is complete. And then that's your low level here. As you can see, the head dropped. I'll go ahead and set it. If you look at the head here, I'll go ahead and put it back to high. You can see it raises it up maybe a ½ inch or so. Well, your bond parameters are set here. You got a search, power, time, and force for both channels 1 and 2. You clamp on and off. When you're feeding the wire through, or for any other reason you want to open a clamp, just go ahead and open the clamp for you. You have an on-off light switch. And a test button, you'll want to see that the US LED turns on, and it means that your wedge tool is properly set in your transducer. And you have a loop height, which is the distance the head will travel between bonds 1 and 2. Tail setting here, that's the length of the tail that's left after the second bond. Again, this is all explained in the manual. I'm just going over it quickly. So we're all set up. I have a gold coupon here, gold plated coupon, and it's set in here, mechanically held down by the work holder. Chessman moves the stage, and at the stage will position your bond underneath your wedge tool underneath doing your bond. If you need to increase the height of your stage, you would go ahead and just spin the bottom. It's a screw type mechanism here, so you can screwing it up will bring it down, and clockwise will raise it. I have it set to the proper height for this particular substrate, and I'll go ahead and start doing a couple of bonds. The left side button of your Chessman is for your to operate the bond head in semi-automatic mode. So what you'll do there, you'll press once. That'll bring you up to search height, which is adjustable by your search height 1. And I'm just going to look through the microscope. I'm going to position it in an area where there's no bonds. Once you're happy with your position, you can go ahead and release that. You'll make the first bond and rise up to your loop height, which is again adjustable. You can take it and move it up and down. And it'll also do your step back, which is adjustable. Normally you'll set that once, your step back and your loop. And then we'll go ahead and make the second bond. Search 2, again you press and hold the Chessman button, release, and it will make a bond. Alright, again I'll do a couple of more bonds. We're all set up. We're going to press the semi-automatic button here. We're at search, release, first bond made, It'll step back to the second bond at loop height, search 2, make the bond, and it'll step back to where you started. So then basically you would just shift to the right a little bit. So I'm just going to step and do a couple of bonds, and we'll demonstrate the semi-automatic, automatic mode, manual mode, excuse me. Now again, if you don't want to use the step back, it'll work that way too. I shut the step back all the way down, so it'll just go ahead and make your first bond and go up to loop height, and then at that time you can move it to whatever distance you want to space it. Again, with wedge bonding, you can only go front to back. The wire needs to stay underneath the wedge tool. Just move back. And I'll go ahead and switch it to manual. And again, we're using the black button on the chessman here. And you can see the head moves up and down. Go ahead and do a bond. It's a little practice with the manual of operation here. You slowly want to push the button in until you just make contact. You know, to your loop height, and then do your second bond. And one final thing, I'll switch back to semi-automatic mode. The right-hand chessman button here is used for stitch, so you'll do a bond 1, and if you want to do a couple of bonds continuously before ending the bond sequence, you can go ahead and hold on to the stitch button. I'll demonstrate that real quick. So we'll go down and search 1, bond 1. Let's do a step back just to demonstrate. It will step back on the first sequence. I'm going to hold the stitch button, which is the right-hand button on the chessman. Go ahead and make the second bond. You can see it doesn't break, and that from there on you can continue on making continuous bonds until you decide you're done. You'll release the stitch. Go ahead and make your last bond, and it'll complete all the way back to the start. So that's the stitch operation. So that's our demonstration of the 4526 operations.